ਇਹ ਸਪਿਰਚੁਅਲ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ AMC ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਪਾਂਸਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ 6045076666 ਤੇ ਫੋਨ ਕਰੋ। ਸਵਾਗਤ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਆਪ ਸਭ ਦਾ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੜਾ ਮਾਣ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੇਰ ਬਾਅਦ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਅੱਜ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ ਭਾਈ ਹਰਿਨਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ। ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੁਝ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਵਿਸ਼ਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਸਾਂਝ ਪਾਣੀ। ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਜੈ ਆਇਆਂ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
Pleasure to have you after a long time.
Yes, it's nice to be back.
Thank you. Today I would like to focus on a few things, the kind of environment we are living in today. No doubt there are two aspects going on. One is at one side with the advent of internet and everything, the prachar is at its best level, whether it is in Sikhism or any other religion. But on the other hand, the environment we are living in is of fear, tension, racism issues are coming forward despite we living in the 21st century. All these issues are having a great impact on us. So tell us today that how using spirituality we can come out of these, and especially with the children, how to address these issues with them.
Well, you know, it's a big problem today because of the environment in the world. There's a lot of hatred and a lot of hatred against different faiths and our appearances, and specifically we have turbans we wear. We're very noticeable, and there's some confusion as to who we are. We're sometimes confused with others. And it puts a lot of pressure, especially on our young people,
Right.
you know, who are trying to make it in this world and are feeling some of this kind of hatred against them, or minor, small racism. So we have to educate. We have to educate about the values that we have, that we hold
Right.
dear in our faith, and educate people as to how to communicate with each other and find that tolerance. We have to be tolerant with each other, and we have to be tolerant within our communities.
Right.
And we have to be supportive, because in this time when there is an increase in minor racism and some hatreds and hate crimes and things like that, is we have to then come together as communities, as Sanghats, and support our young people and support each other so that we can find a way to deal with these problems. One is to educate the community as to who we are and what we represent. Sikhs in particular are people of peace, and we're very unique, and we have a unique identity.
Right.
And to give that support to our young people so they're proud of that as well, and they're proud of what their heritage is. And in terms of spirituality, regardless of one's faith, to have that devotion, to trust in that,
Right.
and to find that tolerance. That today, the personality today is defensiveness. We become defensive with each other, and we fight with each other. So we have to learn how to be tolerant of each other and accept each other.
Right. Absolutely, you're right. But over here, we find that probably we as Sikhs have failed in a big way. Of course, we have people like you who are going forward and talking on these issues. But again, language is also becoming a barrier, especially with the younger generation. It's great to talk about history. We should be proud of our history. But how long can we continue that legacy if it is not being implemented or shown as a role model to the youngsters?
Correct.
So how to now change that perspective? Because in the gurdwaras they are doing great service, but along with that, a time has come when in every religion, and especially in Sikhism, we are talking about how to carry on that legacy to our children. So what do you feel, what needs to be done over here where we can bring about that change?
Well, you know, Jay, I always tell the story of how I didn't come to join a religion. I've been now in the Sikh faith 40 years.
Right.
And I didn't come to find a religion. I came because it was a way of life, and I identified that Guru Nanak taught a way of living,
Right.
a way of working hard, earning, sharing what we have, and the other part, the Nam Simran, the meditation, the devotional aspect.
Right.
That we're here with a lifestyle. When one devotes at the feet of God, then one becomes, and no matter what your faith, whether it's in our Sikh faith or others, but when we take all these emotions, right, we know, and especially in our community, there's so much emotion,
Right.
and commotion,
Oh,
we
yeah.
have to take that to devotion.
Right.
And devote at the feet of the Guru, devote to God. There has to be some reverence in a person. The reason that all this hate and the divisions of people is because there isn't that reverence for all.
Right.
We teach a simple teaching of Ekonkar, that there's one God.
Right.
And that one God is the same God for everyone.
Oh,
Doesn't
yeah.
matter what their faith is. But we don't live that truth.
Right.
What Guru says is live the truth of your heart, live that truth. But we don't want to live that truth, and we get caught up in the day-to-day. But what's happening in the shift, especially because of what's going on, you know, Guruji talks about the Kali Yuga, the darker age, and we're in that time, we're seeing it. We're seeing what's happening in world events and world politics. We can see there's distrust in countries, it's just dividing. And that division comes down into each of us in our day-to-day life, because those world events affect us individually.
Right.
and it creates a division. And there's some out there that are promoting this kind of division and promoting this kind of one against the other. We have to be strong. We have to be united as a Sanghat. We have to give our young people the strength. We have to be devoted to God and make that our priority, not our money, not our houses, not our confusions. But this state of confusion and blurred reality, I call it. That right now there's a blur between what's real and what's not real in the world, right? There's a blur. And the children are getting caught somehow in this blur, right? And they're not understanding what is real, what's not real.
Right.
But Guru teaches a reality, to come from your heart, to come from your truth, to know what that feels like inside. And that's the power of Bani. That's the power of prayer. That when we're prayerful in that understanding, that to have a relationship inside of ourselves, which is a trend today, self-help, all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's a trend today.
Yeah.
And you know, we are really the pioneers in that. But it's not seen that way. The cultural has interfered.
Right.
And we have to break that down. So this the buildup of gangs in our Sanghats, right, in our Punjabi community. So there's forces working against this. We have to be strong. We have to send a public message. We have to have a public image of conversation. And we have to learn how to talk to each other. Many respects, the parents coming from India are not being given really the tools of how to deal with these children who are born here in the West and how to talk to them. And because they're a different these children born today have a different mind.
Right.
We didn't have internet, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have anything, but they know everything. It's instant. In fact, it's overload. They have too much, even the youngest ones, 5, 6-year-old. But that overload and that internet and the blurring and then all these social medias they're doing and all of that and what they're hearing is creating a confusion and a division.
Of course, that commotion which is existing, and we have seen in the past, you have been holding camps especially. Your focus has been now different, what we are observing. You're holding camps for the youngsters also, children also, where you bring them and try to talk about these issues. Because in the Gurdwaras, there is a time has come when we need to address these issues also.
Absolutely.
Because these are the foundations by which then we can further develop ourselves. So when you talk about that blurred image, what we have of that perceptions or the inhibitions, what we have. So how to come out of those? Let's focus right now on the youngsters, because you have an experience of the camps where children come and talk to you about various issues. Could you just elaborate on those?
You know, what I try to bring to them is to have a relationship with God, a relationship with Guru, which is lacking. I was speaking at one of the Gurdwaras the other day, and I was talking with the children. I said, what does the word Guru mean? Not one knew, right? They hear the word, but they don't know what is that meaning. What is the foundation that we're building? We have to create that solid foundation. You know, Guru Nanak Dev Ji started out, he created a foundation. Each of our gurus built on that foundation.
Right.
We have to go back to those roots, go back to the foundation, go back to the basic principles, and help in our Sanghats, because today we have depression, we have alcoholism, we have drug problems, we have gangs, and that's all part of that blurred vision. We have to come forward, become leaders in the Sanghat, leaders in the community, and there are more things going on than ever, which is great, because when I started there was nothing.
Right.
So to reach our young people, give them hope, give them faith, we have to give that hope, right, and faith, and show that we're organized, we're together, and we're helping them, that they're not stepping out by themselves, and they're not having to deal with it by themselves and getting overwhelmed by what's happening. Because there's a lot of pull. A lot of parents come to me. I think my son's hanging out with this group, and before he was never, and we don't know now what they're doing. I get this a lot from the parents. Right. Because we're not giving them the foundation and the principles of how to live, which is the whole basis of this faith.
That's true.
I mean, the whole, that I learned, the whole basis is tolerance, acceptance, communication, love, heart, etc., courage, all that stuff, kindness, but we're not giving it, where we could become leaders in the world. We could actually become leaders in the world of spreading a mission of peace.
Absolutely.
But we're not doing it because we can't do it at the foundational level.
Right.
We can't go out and spread it to the world if at the foundational level, in the Gurdwaras, in the homes, right from the beginning, we're not educating and helping these young people who are born mostly in the West, thinking from a Western mind. They can't understand the Eastern philosophies.
Absolutely. And it's not just the Western born children, it is even in the Eastern born children also. When they come over here, or even in India also, from where we come, nobody knows. Yes, they know about going to a Gurdwara, but as you very rightly mentioned, basic concept or basic knowledge is not available. And I feel the parents are probably to be blamed more, because we have got ourselves busy in everything else.
Correct.
We want to claim and we want to pursue that, that yes, we belong to a legacy of great people, but how to continue that legacy, we are lacking in that.
Well,
so now, yes, please.
No, what happens is that the parents react when something happens.
Absolutely.
So once it happens,
Right.
and you know what's been, there's been suicides in our Sangha of young people,
Right.
murders of young people, and involvement in drugs and alcohol. So when they have a problem, then they come running.
Right.
But let's begin there. Let's not end up there. That's what we have to, the message we have to give.
You have mentioned quite a few times about the foundation that needs to be strong. We know if we have to build a building, the foundation, if it is not strong, it will not last for long. So when we talk about the foundation, could you just elaborate on this and tell our viewers today as to from where to start? Because there's so much confusion right now. Everybody is concerned, but where to start is a question. And then there are so many things which are happening. Somebody comes, says something, somebody else comes, says something. So one gets further complicated and further under duress instead of having that clarity. So please tell us how to start that foundation.
Well, in our faith, the foundation is simple. It's
Right.
called Mul Mantar. Mul means root.
Right.
The root is the foundation.
Right.
If they just, if families just discuss Mul Mantar, Ekonkar, Satnam, Kartapur, Nirabo, Nirver, Kalmut, Ajuni, Sahiban, Guru Prasad Jab, Ad Sacha, God Sacha, Hebi Sacha, Nanak Osi Bi Sach. If they just understand that, here in that Mul Mantar, which begins the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, begins the Japji Sahib, and that is talking about how there's the oneness of all creation.
Right.
And the Kartapur does everything, not us. And there's no fear, no resentment. And it's not only we're talking about outside, we're talking inside.
Right.
That Mul Mantra is the foundation of our life, to understand what is received, what is given, and how to be devotional. If that's embedded with an understanding that that's the base that holds us, and the connection we have at the feet of the Guru is that which is our touchstone during these times,
Right.
which is what Guru says, then at least we have the beginning of giving that education into the process.
Right.
Then that can begin that discussion. Then how do I live that? What is my choice to live that? We have to teach the basic foundational understanding that we're here as one, that we have a devotional practice, that there's a way through everything. The first understanding of communication,
Right.
there's a way through everything. Right? Even when there's a problem, you think,
Oh,
no,
yes.
I can't get through, you believe this, I believe that.
Right.
But our method is there's a way through everything.
Right. And that's when the Bani will say, Ho
Hanji.
ekattar milo mere
Hanji.
bhai, dubida dur
Correct.
karo livlai.
Right.
If there is a challenge, sit down and resolve that.
Right, there's a way through everything.
Right.
We say that if it's true that war ends at the negotiation
Oh, yeah.
table, let's start there.
Absolutely. Right. So all these talks and your television program also, you have been talking about these issues.
Yes.
Now these questions which come to you, you have a website also, chardikalasanghat.com.
Sikh Sangat, yes, yes.
So on this also, are you trying to bring these issues? Are you posting these over there? If anybody wants some more information?
We're developing that.
Right.
They can go to chardikalasanghat.com and fill out a form there that they can get back to us.
Right.
We do have the camp, the first summer camp in Mission at the end of August,
Okay.
where we want families to come. And that there's programs for children, of course there's devotional service, but a big part of that camp is going to be discussion. Parents discussing together, a group of women together, talk about their,
Right.
what they have to do,
Okay.
talk about our children. So it's very important. What we're trying to create through Chardikala Sikh Sangat is those avenues of communication
Right.
to talk about, and that we can create a support network for parents.
Right.
We have to create the support network for parents where they can then talk to others
Right.
and receive help in how to guide these children, how to deal with family problems. And most of our Sangat is Punjabi, and
That's
so we
right.
can speak English or Punjabi, doesn't matter. So we're trying to escalate that, and the camp
Right.
is the first step to that.
So from August 25th to 27th
Hanji.
in Miracle Valley, this
Miracle
camp
Valley.
will be held.
Yes, and they can go to chardikalasiksangat.com
Right.
to register for the camp, or if they
Okay.
have questions, there's a phone number they can call us. So then, these are the steps that we're taking
Right.
and with our Sangat to create those avenues of communication and especially at the level of the parents, and then support the children so they
Right.
can see the practice.
Bhai Harnam Singh ji, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to
It's
you.
always my privilege.
Thank you.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਜੀ ਇਸ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਮਾਪਤੀ। ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਭਾਈ ਹਰਨਾਮ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਏਗਾ। ਇਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਗਸਤ 25 ਤੋਂ 27 ਇੱਕ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਕੈਂਪ ਦਾ ਆਯੋਜਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਸਕਰੀਨ ਤੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਹੋਏ ਫੋਨ ਨੰਬਰ ਤੇ ਵੈਬਸਾਈਟ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਰਜਿਸਟਰ ਕਰਾਓ। ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਂਝ ਸਾਡੀ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਵਧੇ। ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਮੌਕੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਘੱਟ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਿ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹ ਫਨ ਫਿਲਡ ਐਕਟੀਵਿਟੀਜ਼ ਵੀ ਹੋਣਗੀਆਂ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਵੀ ਹੋਣਗੀਆਂ, ਤਾਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਇੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਲਾਹਾ ਲੈ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਇਹ ਸਪਿਰਿਚੁਅਲ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ AMC ਇੰਸ਼ੋਰੈਂਸ ਸਰਵਿਸਿਜ਼ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਪਾਂਸਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ। 6045076666 ਤੇ ਫੋਨ ਕਰੋ।